We know what Jesus was when he was a man on earth. What was his profession? Was he a doctor?
Carpenter.
He was a heavenly doctor, but what was Jesus' work?
Carpenter.
But that's his heaven. But when he was a man on earth,
Panda ito si Lord
he was
Jesus.
a carpenter. Jesus
Panda ito
was
siya.
a carpenter. Because we know Jesus is the foundation. But also the builder. Without us, without the carpenters, the workers, there's no building. Without Jesus, there's no building, heavenly building for us. And then once though I became, and Jesus came in, and it's like, oh, Jesus, please forgive me for my sins. I could feel right away, boom, the God coming in me. And so it's no longer me. I feel me in there because I'd rather go steal a chicken and have a dinner. I would rather.
Dili magkulot kayo. Masilulog ya bubo nagtubig.
Welcome to the ProverbsGuys Ministry on this beautiful Resurrection Day here in Northern California. Pretty much evening now, so I was a little late today. Had Easter worship and then headed to my daughter's house, celebrate with family this most special day for Christianity. Of course, without it, we would not have Christianity, would not have faith. And start out, we got this 1 Corinthians passage, and that's not it. It is the John passage, verse 12. But if it is preached that Jesus has not been raised from the dead, how can some of you say that there is no resurrection of the dead? If there is no resurrection of the dead, then not even Christ has been raised. And if Christ has not been raised, our preaching is useless, and so is your faith. More than that, we are then found to be false witnesses about God, for we have testified that we have testified about God that he raised Christ from the dead, but he did not raise him if in fact the dead are not raised. For if the dead are not raised, then Christ has not been raised either. And if Christ has not been raised, your faith is futile, you are still in your sins, then those who have fallen asleep in Christ are lost. If only for this life we have hope in Christ, we are of all people most miserable, I think it is, improbable what we got there. So just to run down on this and, the importance of Jesus being raised from the dead, because otherwise the message would be as worthless and as much purpose as those who believe in other gods, other ways that you have to work your way to heaven, or that there's not enough evidence for a God. So as we get going with this, just the basic for Christianity. And for those who, don't think there's enough faith, and of course will disagree. I think there is. That's what my show's about. The great design, the great complexity that does not have evidence of it happening just by chance through random mutations worked on by natural selection. So I'm open to it. Anybody wants to give me a list, just a little list. It must be trillions and trillions of beneficial or mutations that added information that got us from the pre-pond scum, the simplest first life form, to the complexity we see today. So, peer-reviewed paper or papers of 100 to 1,000 is a good start to give evidence that it could happen from chance. So then, since we don't have that, and we know it's not out there, then the best, the easiest, the simplest explanation is that somebody outside of time, space, and matter has intelligently designed what we see. And with that today, and so there's so many with the resurrection theme today that we will want to show you a couple just totally insane bugs. This one is cool. It is, of course, the caterpillar. Now we've all seen the butterfly or moth lays the egg. It goes into its little caterpillar stage. Then when it's ready, it will go into a cocoon, totally be transformed, and then come on out as something. But this is just an interesting little difference here, because again, this the evolutionary theory will tell us that it's just simple gradual steps that made everything come into existence. And let me share this one. It is a type of, let me get it up there. Wow, it's up there already. It is a type of caterpillar. That's the wrong one. Let's get back to there. Get him. Come on. Where'd you go? There we go. Let's start that one.
He begins to weave a mat of sticky silk. As the strands dry, they tighten and lock him inside the leaf, where he sheds his skin in safety.
Let's put it back. He's actually making some silk. And let's give a little explanation, because I've already watched it a couple times. It's so awesome.
Dry, they tighten and lock him inside the leaf, where he sheds his skin in safety.
Now, as most, evolutionary nature, whatever you want, videos, that little light in there is not going off. They'll add some stuff to make it curious for the viewer, to make it entertaining. But again, listen to his speech on here as we get going. I'll start to stop. I'll stop when we hear it. But, they give these effects like it's actually woohoo. No, it's this little bundle of cells, if we believe that it's not created. It is just chemicals. And this, my argument is that what causes this type of stuff, and the cause, according to those who don't believe there's enough evidence for God, is that it was chance mutations worked on by natural selection. Well, let's see what this guy. So, and just so I don't know. I'd rather, and maybe because this is for kids too, but I'd rather have just more scientific. Instead of saying Big Bang with the origination, why don't I say Great Expansion? Sure, if you want to say that to the fourth graders, use your funny talk. But, when people are adults, let's use more scientific words. And anyway, let's listen to this guy. And if nothing else, we see this awesome little creature.
Emerging not as a butterfly, but as a more colourful caterpillar. Now, rather than blending in, he stands out and is already turning heads. But there is method to his madness.
Okay, there's no method to his madness. It's supposed to be all chance mutations. And again, they would say, well, things change to give them a step ahead, a little superpower, camouflage or whatever. It's like, no, this thing had a mutation that allowed then something that was probably hiding out from predators to make him, hey, let's go search out the predators. And again, that's human wordage, but what made him, after generations, do this craziness?
Sporting huge eye-like spots, he rears up, impersonating something that strikes fear into each.
Okay, so it's impersonating something, what obviously looks like a snake, pretty cool, but he's impersonating something that drives fear into a predator. So you're saying that this little insect had the creative intelligence, the power to change? No, it would change by chance, but then in his little brain, he knew. And, walk right up to a predator. But anyway, let's get going on this.
Even the most persistent predators. A snake. But this alone is not enough to convince a sharp-eyed starling. So the spice bush takes his deception to the next level. He flicks out a horn-like organ
Oh, where are we going here? What are we doing? Help. Somebody got to help me on my tech stuff. Why are you still there? I took you away. But isn't that cool? And whether you believe in God or not, you got to still say, it's like, wow, that is crazy awesome. That is a miracle. That is just a wonderful thing. Let's see. I came on late tonight. I didn't advertise that. I sound sick. People, they say I always sound sick. Must have been the party today. I didn't do much talking. Hopefully I'm not, because sick. Hello, Robin. Bruce, how are you today? And I was going to go just a short show today. But yeah, for some reason my voice is weird. And let me put out the link there for you too. Because nothing else. This is cool. Hope you had a happy Easter. I had a great time. Worship today was awesome. And then went to my daughter's for a dinner. So my 3 daughters were there, and their husbands were smart. No, they went bike riding, and then had a lot of extended family. Some of my daughter's cousins were there, and just had a great time. All right, either you two want to come in and chat, that would be fun, because I got one more insanely cool. And this one on, of course, somebody, and this is my thing, something that gets resurrected. The caterpillar will go in to and just recreate itself. It'll be like death. It's not really living in there. It's just cells, and they pop out a caterpillar, kind of like a resurrection. Then the other one is our dragonfly, who doesn't go into a cocoon stage, but it goes. Let's see, man, I'm almost talking and doing this at the same time. The dragonfly and dragoon. There. Here we go. This is cool. It's talking about the hunters and percentages of how many kills they get when they're hunting, how many times they actually get what they're after.
Succeed less than 30% of the time. African dogs are perhaps the best land-based hunters, with a success rate of up to 67% when working together. But this number still pales in comparison to the greatest hunter on Earth. And to find this predator, you have to set your sights to something much, much smaller, hovering near bodies of water with beautiful wings and huge compound eyes. The dragonfly. Their hunting success rate pushes 100%. Dragonflies belong to one of the oldest insect orders, the Odonata, which have been around for close to 320 million years. Their presence in the fossil record is relatively complete and shows that their morphology has remained mostly unchanged through time. Their size, on the other hand, has changed dramatically. The ancient dragonflies were giants compared to the ones that exist today.
So I'll just interject because not arguing with their time frame on this, but 300 million years that the mutations on these guys didn't do anything except for make them smaller. Now I'll go into that right now, and that and this video says the same thing, is that the Earth probably had a lot more oxygen in the air to be able to hold that little big guy, almost what they say, a meter, that's almost 3 feet, in the air. I had the compound eyes already, had this fantastic wing system, which we'll see. So this is a complex, this is one of the most complex little creatures you could ever think of. And let's go see what else we got.
What is it about the dragonfly morphology that led it to be arguably the most effective predator alive today? And if this particular body plan is so effective, why did it gradually get so much smaller over the millennia? Why did evolution rob us of a world where almost 1 meter long aerial beasts rule the skies? Odonata means toothed ones in Greek, and these fearsome predators' namesake comes from their prominent chewing mouthparts with sharp teeth found on the underside of their head. Odonates are also characterized for having a freely movable head, very short antennae, large and highly developed compound eyes, 3 simple eyes, and 2 pairs of long wings. The only difference between extinct and existing dragonflies is their size. Some Paleozoic species were known to have wingspans exceeding 70 centimeters, whereas the largest existing species barely exceed a wingspan of 16 centimeters. Males and females can easily be spotted perching and flying around aquatic habitats, as dragonfly eggs must be laid in water. They generally feed on midges and other small flying insects that inhabit the area, and hunt and eat them in mid-flight. And despite being considered relatively primitive insects, dragonflies possess some of the most unique and spectacular flight adaptations of any.
Okay, and so again, considered some of the most primitive. Okay, so all of this is speculation, and you look at these little guys, and so to me, this is probably even more evidence that you got to have a lot of faith for this. Almost more evidence, or about the same as the soft tissue that is supposed to be 120 to 160, I think, million years old, found in dinosaur bones, and now we found them in multiple species. Found them in the tusk of the Triceratops dinosaur. So it's just like, a lot of this stuff is giving seemingly falsified information that the Earth is really that old. But let's go. I mean, we'll just take it face value from what she's saying, what she's read in the books. Let's go here.
Any animal, allowing them both to reach fast aerial speeds and be incredibly agile. One adaptation they possess is something few other insects do: direct flight muscles. Most winged insects have what are known as indirect flight muscles, which attach to the walls of the thorax, making the thorax deform as they expand and contract. The deformation of the thorax transmits its resonance to the wings, making them vibrate and initiate the flapping motion. Whilst indirect flight muscles have their own advantages, dragonflies instead have individual muscles that attach directly to the base of each of their 4 wings. Being able to tug on each wing individually enables them to move and direct each of their 4 wings independently in all 3 axes, meaning they can control their horizontal, vertical, and torsional motion, granting them precision and agility that is unparalleled by most insects with indirect flight muscles. Thanks to
Okay, kind of like any winged creature, to have 4 wings that can go independently is mind-boggling. Let's design this. We're gonna, instead of just the flapping up and down, maybe your hummingbird, they'll have some interesting, excuse me, wing patterns to be able to do what they do. But this has 4 wings, and each of them can move independently. Therefore, what does that do? So the different little muscles, different than a bird, just up and down motion, maybe being able to twist a wing so it can get some little dynamic motion that straight fixed wings would not have. But you're going, this is, I'm stuttering, as you see, more than usual, because I'm thinking how to design that. I'm inside that little guy, seeing those little, like the rubber band kind of muscles that can go. But there's going to be more, because that's just the up and down movement. These things, as you'll see, they go independently, frontwards and backwards too, on each wing.
Thanks to this independent control, dragonflies are one of the few insects that can propel themselves in all 6 directions: up, down, left, right, forwards, and even backwards. Another remarkable way that dragonfly flight differs from other insects is their ability to flap their fore and hind wings in different phases, and can vary that phase depending on the maneuvers they wish to perform. One flight technique is known as counterstroking, where they flap their fore and hind wings 180 degrees out of phase with each other. This allows them to hover or engage in very slow forwards flight, and can generate large amounts of lift. For fast forward flight, they're able to switch to phased stroking, where the hind wings beat 90 degrees ahead in phase of the forewings. While this generates far less lift, it generates a lot more thrust, with some species being capable of reaching well over 50 kilometers an hour, making them by far the fastest flying insects. Dragonflies can also engage in synchronized stroking, which is when the forewings and hindwings flap together at the same time. This is most useful for increasing their acceleration and to prepare for turning or changing directions quickly. It allows them to generate huge amounts of lift, but can't be sustained for long periods of time, so they generally only use this configuration when chasing prey. In addition, dragonflies are also capable of flying backwards, a flight maneuver which is not possible for almost any other animal except a few other small types of fly and the hummingbird. They do this by tilting their body upwards at 90 degrees to change the direction of the force generated by the wings. And finally, dragonflies can also choose to not flap their wings at all, allowing them to free glide, take advantage of an updraft, or in the case of some female dragonflies, take a ride with a male who can hold onto her, making him beat his wings to propel the two of them. Being able to switch between such a wide variety of flight behaviors and aerial acrobatics is what makes dragonflies such efficient predators when hunting flying insects, as well as when evading predators of their own. While not exclusive to the Odonata, dragonfly wings also have a prominent pterostigma. It's a small pigmented spot on the leading edge of the wing that is heavier than the rest of the wing. It acts as a counterweight. From a biomechanics perspective, the weight of the pterostigma displaces the chordwise center of mass ahead of the torsion axis at the level of the pterostigma. If not for this, the outer leading edge of the dragonfly's wing would be prone to self-excitatory flapping and feathering vibrations known as flutter, which would rapidly stall its flight when gliding at high speed. Such aeroelastic flutter and resonance are phenomena that can endanger far larger structures too, such as aircrafts and even buildings, and is responsible for the 1940 collapse of the Tacoma Narrows Bridge. In the case of dragonflies, a small spot that accounts for less than 0.1% of its total body weight allows them to safely reach a 10 to 25% higher flight speed than they would otherwise. Lastly, a dragonfly's wings are not perfectly flat plates. Their veins form three-dimensional corrugations that make the wing's performance more efficient from a structural perspective. The patterns traced by the veins prevent the wing from warping and deforming as a result of resonance, which enables them to easily alter their angle of attack and generate higher amounts of lift. But it's not just their incredible speed, stability, and maneuverability that makes dragonflies the greatest hunters in the air. It's how they see the
All right, let's stop at the wings. So again, we're thinking, how do we do this? Let's take away the reproduction, the digestive systems, the eating. Let's just design this little puppy. We're already, our minds are going crazy, obviously, because we have some pretty high-tech robotic kind of flying creatures, drones, and there we'll show one later, a dragonfly-looking drone type of creation. And you can see it's like, whoa, still far off from what we see here. So then we got these wings, though, but then they have to be connected to a brain central, because yes, it's fantasy words when it said, oh, when it decides to go this way or that way, when something makes it do whatever it's doing, there's a control center in there. So we got to have this little computer going on. And now we got smaller computers, so that's less of a hindrance. But so you got to figure, we got to keep that photocells, the compound eyes, because, you got to kind of process the information, what it's going for, why it's, whether it's a predator that it's going to move, or is it something it wants to eat. So, yeah, can you see my frustration and people saying that this happened by chance? The wing structure, then also the little balance tips out there that makes it even go faster. Well, if that thing is a little slower, the frog's going to get them. They're not going to, and then you figure these things were 3 meters long. Yeah, that's just big flying treat. Kind of like a lobster, for the bigger creatures out there. But this thing, wow, craziness. Let's keep going. This just blows my mind, as you can see.
the world that makes all that agility possible.
Uh-oh. Aw, poor thing. Okay, that was a fun game, I guess. I don't know.
Dragonflies don't just dominate flight, they have incredible vision. Their characteristic compound eyes are the largest in the insect kingdom. They're made of over 30,000 individual facets or ommatidia, which are like mini telescopes that detect light from the direction in which they point it. As their eyes wrap around their head almost entirely, their
30,000. And that's what gives them, and again, though, then you've got to process all that information. So you're going to be able to see things better, they say. But 30,000 little telescopes, they call them. Again, an human creation that is the best explanation, I guess, that we've got for it. But let's keep going and see what it says.
Field of vision is nearly 360 degrees, perfect for surveying their surroundings for potential targets without having to reorient themselves on their perch. Each ommatidia also has 4 to 5 opsins, light-sensitive proteins that absorb different colors of light in the spectrum and allow dragonflies to perceive color.
Okay, let's see that. Oh, we're going to design and make this sucker because we want the best camera, best whatever out there. And how many of these does it have? Okay, come on, guys. Now, you can say that this, what they say, 300 million, trillion, billion. Long time ago, they perceive these things were already there. So you're talking about at least needing to change the wording of the theory, because that's not slow, gradual, because you got to put in the time. Life has only been around, these creatures from the Cambrian time, and which, higher, we have the trilobites with the compound eyes. And you got to figure is how many mutations would it have taken to do this? Because each one of these has to have a code and then an epigenetics above it to stop them. How come we only have 30,000? Well, you put 1 million of them in there, and that eyeball is going to pop out. So something has to start the production of these. Something has to finish the production of these. So we're getting into we can do it, though. We are modern humans. We should be able to design one of these and build it.
Dragonflies to perceive color from orange to ultraviolet, which is useful for hunting during the day and for detecting and courting females using visual signals. With 30,000 ommatidia spanning a full 360 degrees, dragonflies do not have the same visual acuity as a human or a bird, but are much more sensitive to movement than we are. A common prey target in the distance will rarely span more than 1 degree across their field of vision before they decide to pursue it, which equates to movement across 2 to 3 ommatidia at most, meaning their brain is capable of detecting and processing movement incredibly quickly, so they can immediately pursue prey or avoid a threat. Their eyes are also specialized based on region. The upper or dorsal region of their eye is most sensitive to shorter wavelengths of light, that is ultraviolet and blues. Many dragonflies fly low above the surface of the water when searching for prey, as this allows potential targets to contrast as much as possible with the blue sky. On the other hand, the middle and lower or ventral parts of their eye are sensitive to a wider range of wavelengths. This is likely because color detection is important when identifying and pursuing fellow dragonflies, either as potential mates or rivals. Okay, so again, she's coming in and says, it's most likely they're like this. So we have even no clue. I would imagine, unlike me, she did her homework on this and just doesn't do it on the fly, on the dragonfly, and craziness. Sorry, I keep repeating. Which they are more likely to approach head-on or from above. It can also help when identifying prey that doesn't move, such as insects trapped in spider webs, which dragonflies occasionally loot from unsuspecting spiders if no flying targets are available. These vision abilities, combined with their flying prowess, create a formidable predator. However, it's how these two things are integrated that make the dragonfly the most effective predator alive today. It's not just the wings or the eyes that make the dragonfly so successful, but its brain. The dragonfly's brain uses a highly optimized hunting strategy that allows it to predict where the prey is going and to quickly maneuver to intercept it. Studying raptors and other hunting insects has shown that there are 2 main strategies used by predators to chase down their prey: tracking and interception. And of the 2 ways to hunt, interception is the far more difficult one. Tracking involves maintaining the target in the same spot in their field of vision and accelerating towards them. The chaser approaches and spirals in towards the prey until its natural advantage in speed allows them to snag it. The other form of hunting is known as interception, where the chaser flies in an intercepting path towards where they predict the prey will be. This is more difficult, as the locations and speeds of the prey and predator must be processed together to make such a prediction. However, if predicted accurately, it's less likely to depend on an absolute speed advantage, which can help the predator to save power as fast-forward flight and acceleration is energetically taxing. And even though dragonflies have the speed and agility to be able to engage in tracking if they so desired, they primarily use interception as a form of capture. In humans, interception is a learned behavior, but in dragonflies, it's hypothesized that such behavior must be hardwired into their nervous system, linking their visual system and motor system directly. However, an interception model of pursuit means the prey being hunted is less likely to remain in the same spot within the dragonfly's field of view, which can make the prey more difficult to catch. Studies have shown that dragonflies seemingly adjust their head in near synchrony with their prey, fixing their target in areas of higher visual acuity for tracking. In fact, this synchronization is so perfect that even the head movements appear not to be reactionary, but based on predictions. All of this mind and body integration has given the dragonfly the best hunting record researchers have ever found. In 2012, researchers at Harvard found that dragonflies caught around 95% of the prey they chased. This is impressive for any animal, let alone a flying one. Dragonflies will consume any flying prey roughly the size of their head or smaller, like bees, moths, flies, mosquitoes, or gnats. Larger species will even catch and eat other dragonflies. But if they're the best hunters around, why did evolution push them to hunt small prey? Why couldn't they remain 70-centimeter giants, dominating the skies and snatching up bigger prey? There are two leading hypotheses for the miniaturization of dragonflies, and they're not mutually exclusive. The first is that 300 million years ago, there was much more oxygen in the atmosphere. It's thought that this huge amount of oxygen was able to support larger insect bodies, which rely on passive and active diffusion through holes in their cuticle for respiration. As these oxygen levels decreased to those of the present day, so did the maximum size an insect could reach. The other hypothesis is that small flying dinosaurs and birds, which began evolving 150 million years ago, may have outcompeted larger dragonflies for the same ecological niche. Since there is less competition if birds hunt larger organisms and dragonflies hunt smaller ones, smaller dragonflies were more likely to not go extinct. There are very few insects more successful than the dragonfly, who have remained relatively unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. With a killer suite of adaptations to help it maintain top predator status, it's no wonder engineers and scientists alike are keen to study and emulate them. Dragonflies have been the source of inspiration for many biomimicry projects which aim to replicate how they track targets and perform aerial acrobatics. While to date there are no free-flying drones of dimensions comparable to a dragonfly on the market, there are several prototypes of micro-unmanned air vehicles in the works. So the next time you see a dragonfly flying around your local pond, remember to take a moment to appreciate this killer in the sky, and be thankful they are the size that they are, or be glad you're not a fruit fly. As important as dragonfly morphology is to its enduring success as a species, its behavior and the life cycles are equally crucial. Not only do dragonflies dominate the skies, but their larvae are deadly hunters under the water. With their crazy retractable jaws that can shoot out half the length of their body, their world is even more alien than the dragonflies we are familiar with, and their hunting strategy even more terrifying. To learn more about the freaky world of dragonflies and their larvae, you should watch Dragons and Damsels on CuriosityStream. It's a 50-minute long David Attenborough documentary that I had never seen before, and dive into the murky, weird world of these creatures, and has amazing close-up footage of their hunting and flying, as well as footage of mesmerizing experiments done with smoke to understand the dragonfly's aerodynamics. CuriosityStream is a streaming platform with thousands of high-quality documentaries like this one. And now, CuriosityStream has partnered with us to offer an incredible deal. By signing up to CuriosityStream, you will also get a...
So, yes, I was interested in the whole thing. That is awesome. But now, hopefully, through all this time, at least people can see where I'm coming from. That, this, as Dr. Richard Dawkins says, biology is the study of things that give the appearance of being designed for a purpose. But then he goes on and said, no, but we have other reasons. And there we did that again. How come that does that? I'd rather see this one anyway than my face. So thank you, everybody. See, did we get more comments out there? Again, this was late, and I just wanted to... we got Netronia. Hello, Netronia. And I think I put Truth Matters. Let's see. Let's put out the invite again. I thought I did. Let's see here. We got that copied. Let's see if this works. And look at that. Did we get it? So yeah, that's what I had tonight. And one more verse. I'm gonna do. So the first one was the first verse I did. Correction. Don't accuse me of lying. The first verse we did was 1 Corinthians 15:12, talking about the resurrection. And this is the 1 John, which we'll share. And this is when Lazarus had died and was already buried. And where we got here, this is not it. But he was just saying that he is, verse 25, Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? And she said, yes. And this is what I believe. And this is what millions of Christians believe. These statements, and right here, Jesus said he was the resurrection. And this is before he was dead. This was before his crucifixion. He had prophesied during the time. And, you just look at the narrative, and these were actually, if it's a fraudulent writing, some of the smartest to have multiple people get in on this, tell such a fable, if that's what you believe. I don't have enough trust in humanity that they could have written these books over 1,500 years prophesying to begin with that Jesus was going to be living a perfect life, being put to death on a cross, and then resurrecting from the dead. Check that out if you have an interest. So many Old Testament ones. Isaiah 53 talks about, looks like a crucifixion. Psalms, I believe it's 23. You can look it up on Google, is where, he was tacked up. And sounds like crucifixion hundreds of years before it was invented. So just so much stuff. And what I would invite you, because what took me so long was just resisting the fact that I was imperfect. And because of that, I would need, I had no standing on my own. And that's just, and novelly predicted, that if you believed in it. Hello, Mod. Do I have not the link out there? I thought I did it. Can somebody, let's see, must be Bruce's eyeballs. Hi, Speedy. This is a horrible, this is one thing I don't like on this site. I can only see like one person at a time. Now I can see two people's comments, or two comments. Let me try this again. Let me know if I've got the link out there, if it's working. Hello, Mod. Is it working? Okay, I'm saying it went out there. Why is that funny face, though? Is that part of it? Well, that must be me. So let's see. Anybody want to come on and chat? The tenets of Christianity. All right, come on, Mod. Come on in. Let me have it. Oh, you can tell everybody about your, did you have a good day today? First, I should ask. Yes, that's you. Am I behind here on messages? And a few people asked, maybe they took off already thinking but I thought I'd put it up a few times, so sorry guys. Because a few people asked for the link. And I guess Bruce probably went to bed. I know it's getting late for you guys out there. Like I said, I went to my daughter's, had a little meal today, and so we stayed there a little longer than I'd hoped. Let's see what we got. Any questions or just awesome things, or did? Oh, very cool. You had no, was the anniversary stuff today that you were talking about, or is that another day? Come on and chat. Anybody? Okay. Or any other questions? Again, it's not like there's anybody on here to debate really. It's just, oh, is this my buddy? Let's see. Hello, sir.
Hello, it is Nod Natsia,
Oh,
the,
yes.
the cousin of Claude Bars.
I said I thought this was my friend here. How are you doing today?
I've recovered from fighting with you.
we had a good one, huh?
Yes. So you've shifted. You've done all your hard work.
I'm pretty beat. But today I took it easy. Just planted some little maple trees.
All right.
That was
Okay.
fun. Maud, you better come on in and referee. I think she was more amused with us bantering today, or was that yesterday? Days are missing. Yesterday. And you did keep me away from some work, so it's like I just couldn't help myself.
Mm. So you think you'll be settled for a while? You don't need to keep shifting and plant more trees?
Well, actually, that was just early this morning. Today it was just because of the Easter. Went over to my daughter's house. Yeah, I have a couple jobs going that are kind of strenuous, and then the move. So I'm gonna try to take it easy on Sundays. There's kind of a time frame to get out of this property, which is as soon as possible because it's an estate, my folks' estate. Maud, I don't care about editing a hilarious video. Come in here and do it.
Well,
There we
so
go.
so you're still at your old place then? You're just
Right. Yeah. So we found a nonprofit had bought an old nursery, so I've got my landscape and a landscape yard there, so I can start moving my landscape stuff there. Got one potential in a house, but it's still being remodeled. So I just gotta wait and see.
I think you should shift to Dino Land.
That was close. That was really close. God opened doors, and that seemed to be the only one. And so we're still planning right now to build this nonprofit nursery and get it going where it can self-sustain and raise money. And I want to do that as a template, and for any kind of nonprofit that would want to raise some money, because growing little plants is popular and is actually very good for raising money.
Well, it's very easy to run a non-profit business. You just lose money. Then it doesn't
Yeah.
make a profit.
Well, on this one, it has the because it is for dismentally. I'm the dismental, developmentally disabled folks, and so they're getting funding by the state, and so that regulates a lot of the stuff, and they want to be a little more free on being able to pay not just the clients, some really fun folks, and then but also the staff that helps them out, because by the state they're regulated how much they can pay the help. So it's crazy cheap that so it turned into just more of a start out job, and it has nowhere to go because you can't afford a California, even much of California on a minimum wage, and that's all they can pay right now. So that's the plan, is to make some money to just increase the staff, give them a little more compensation because they do such a wonderful job.
I saw photos of potential factories, when they bring back the making of running shoes to the United States and
Mm,
uh, premium electronics to the United States, all that sort of thing. The problem was the guys working there were so fat, their fingers were fat, and they couldn't do all the delicate work. It was
that
very,
would
very interesting.
well, yeah. United States is known for obesity, so how's that? And how are you? I'm like, because France has a lot of, I believe it's Europe. I don't, maybe you can, with France that doesn't allow a lot of the chemical additives that the United States pumps in.
Oh,
Doesn't allow, from what I heard, and I know when we go to Asia, they feed me like that's kind of their hospitality over there, and like most places, and I lost weight. They were giving me pork, and not just me, but they were because there was celebrations of different things, and I was eating pork almost every night, tons of stuff, and I lost 10 pounds. So
and it
I
has healthy veg. It's cooked more healthy, and you have vegetables with it and stuff, and it's not processed food. So I think that's the difference.
I
Um, oh no, there are big people all over the world, but and as in Asia, they gradually like the Western diet a bit and go to McDonald's, the fast food places. They will get more chubby and for more fat, but they're not there yet. Yeah.
that's hopefully whoever they got in there now, Kennedy will help. At least somebody hopefully will help because and there's certain things, the additives, the processing, what we put in they like in the pastas, and a lot of people will import stuff from Italy in the pasta range because they don't have some of the additives in there that are harder to digest. Some of the what's all the allergies now is the gluten. Is that the gluten? Whatever the allergy now, the
Some
wheat,
people are, yeah. Yeah.
and that it's not another place in the world, but we do something with it, processing it that seems to make it pretty well undigestible. So it is it is crazy because America, is supposed to be, the height of technology and all that stuff, yet we're eating such crap and they're allowing so many.
Yeah, but most of those people are from the fringe. They're from the the, the backwoods areas, and you know they tend to think that God has provided them KFC and McDonald's, and they're going to eat from those places. I'm a bit worried that Mr. Kennedy might say, "Oh well, everybody's not eating healthy enough. You can only eat in restaurants at Cape Cod because the Kennedys can afford that sort of thing."
Yeah, yeah, well, we'll hope. But he does come up with some, the stats, and everybody has. He's just hounds it about the autism rates, so we know something had to change. We don't know quite yet the autisms, the cancers, and there's so many factors that can add to it. But you're not having that type of stuff in other places of the world. We have the diabetes going up and all this stuff, these
Oh,
health things, that, why haven't we here in the United States figured that out? Because the one,
well, I suppose that they're a bit focused on eating what the Bible says, perhaps. I don't know. Does that have any instructions on what to eat?
the Old Testament did, but that, and so you got the Seventh Day Adventist.
Well, they're not fat because they're mainly vegetables, aren't they? They're
They
quite.
they do stick with, let's see, I only know a couple of them, and they look kind of skinny.
Yeah.
Um, but do all the, say even like the beefs, the chicken we have, they put in so much chemical to them. So that is a factor. That I don't think has anything to do with anything in the Bible, but and I don't know anybody praising KFC or McDonald's for their biblical eating
Oh,
habits.
I just wondered if it was. I'm not sure. In France, we tend to have stuff that's, but I'm not there at the moment, not processed. So if you have coq au vin, that's the chicken and the red wine. Probably the red wine is good, a little bit, and not too much. And the chicken is like fresh chicken; it's not processed. So, where every time you put the coq au vin in your mouth, you're eating healthy. Yeah.
And that's where we have, and they even show the amount of stuff they put in the meats. Some of them just liquids to make them heavier. Oh, they're juicier, so they're not. It's like they can sell it for you're selling water for meat prices, but then just also the amount of chemicals. That's why on the newer the old time of rotating crops, of more regenerative agriculture, putting rotating the cattle so that you don't have 1,000 head on one acreage, even if it's a big acreage, that they just let them eat it down all summer. They're rotating even the animals and pasture fed chickens and birds. So we're, I think, going healthier that way, but it's all the pharmaceuticals, that you're getting that can't help.
Yes, well, even before the flood, you could have fizzy drinks, and they were better for you because there was more oxygen, and so when you had the lemonade, it was bubbling from all that oxygen level in the earth. Yeah, so I heard that. Yeah.
Well, that was not a creationist side. That is a theory from non non creationist. That was from a non-creationist site, and they're saying that why do you get these animals, so like the dragonfly that's 3 feet long, about, and they're postulating that the atmosphere had more oxygen.
Well, because the moon was made of cheese originally. Um, I think some of it has fallen off into space, but I'll tell you how that happened. What happened was, before the flood, people were making cheese and other wicked things, from cows because they discovered how to milk them. And when the fountains of the deep broke open, um, it shot rocks up to the moon, which made the craters, according to Dr. Havend. Anyway, some people had made a picnic with cheese on the side of there, and it shot those rocks with cheese on them up, and that's why the moon is made of cheese. Just
Oh,
a theory. Yeah.
yeah, well, that's that's just as good as Dr. Hovind's sending rocks to make the craters
Yeah,
theory.
I think
Um,
it's a good one. I think they call that the Nord nuts theory. Yeah,
that
what's
or
your
the
book?
cheese, maybe the cheese nuts.
Yeah, well, it could be.
That
Well,
went up there. Why
nothing,
isn't Philip here? He would have so much. There was a Christian
there's nothing like cheese and nuts. It's always good.
comedian. I had some cheese and crackers today. That was good.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
and that's
not good
why.
for your cholesterol. But
Well, yeah, that's
too bad you can't. You can't not eat, can you?
no, and then that's all in moderation, right? That's my new thing. Although I was kind of depressed today because there was all this great Easter food, and I only got one plate, and then I was full. I was like, oh my gosh, it's so horrible getting old, having the metabolism slow down. Because there's things I would have taken sections, and I know I'm really getting old because I ate a lot of the vegetables. So, when
It
you get
looks
old.
half of that soup still on your shirt and down your beard.
Luckily, that's why I keep it
No,
short.
it's not. I knew you were going to do that. Knew you were going to strike your beard. No, it's not. I'm just telling it to be a.
No, but I, um, yeah, we won't go there because Gemma's always like, "You got egg on your face." Like, it's for later. I don't care. Bugs her though, and then and then my shirt, with the like today, I was doing some planting the little redwood tree, so I walked a ways to get the soil, and I grabbed an old bucket that was rusty, and I was in my good clothes, and I was carrying up the hill, and my back's been kind of sore, so I kind of leaned it against my body, and I had all this rust. Um, I, I think I dusted it all off before Gemma saw it, but it's all good. She kind of just like, oh well, do whatever you want, and that's always fun. But yeah, it's that's kind of fun because I got a friend who's Bible teacher, and so he's like, Dan, you don't care what people think. And it's like, I do care what people think, but I'm not going to dress or, shave to like everybody else. I don't follow the crowd, and I just be myself, and stay clean, take a bath, take a shower, so it's you don't have to smell me. I do have sensitive nostrils, and don't like to offend other people with the smell.
Do you give out Easter eggs at all, or you don't do that?
No, we actually church had an Easter egg hunt.
Ah.
So yeah, and even in Philip, he's 12 now, so he didn't join in. It's like, oh my gosh, he's getting big. And then I mean, I'm not in business.
She's making. There's a saying of Hoven's daddy would say, "Girls, don't advertise if you're not in business," and she's making fun of that and saying with you, "Don't advertise if you're not in business." I don't know what that means, because you are fully dressed, I presume. Although we can't be sure. Maybe you're just wearing a shirt.
No, I actually am. Yeah. Oh, Robin said hi, Claude.
Hello, Robin. But Haven's daddy wouldn't have approved of this. These women these days. You go to the beach and they're wearing their swimming gear costumes or whatever you call. They pull them right up. I don't like that. That's advertising, in my view.
Yes, it's like
I don't like it. Lord doesn't like it.
Talking about the I don't like to smell and offend people that way, and when I see a bathing suit hiked up like that, all I can think is, never mind. Well,
Well, some people call it dental floss, but
yeah.
I don't possibly. I couldn't call it that, but it's just a changing habits, changing society. People dress differently, and then they go through a phase of being more modest, and they go through phases of being more daring.
Yeah, up and down. You look at even France right now, and it would have nothing on Corinth. Back in the day, they would have thought that France right now, or I don't even know how France is right today, but when they were more liberated, or some of the beaches, that would still be considered old fogey and modest compared to some places through time. Robin, I just think I talk too much today, and always.
So Robin says in the comment, "Does Dan sound sick to you?" No, to me, it just sounds normal. But
I knew that. She set me up on that one. Yeah, I feel a little something in the throat, but
you
again,
could be getting something, a cold or the flu.
yeah, and I can't afford that. I can't afford that right now. Can I ever? But yeah, hopefully when the property sells, we'll have a little bit above buffer. But as most Americans, we're like paycheck to paycheck.
You should run a church. You could do quite well out of that.
Well, unfortunately, I should just run a landscape business for profit rather than I'm more into feelings and trying to make the customer happy, and that's why actually I've got pretty good truck right now, and that stuff. Because Jem was like, "No, you can't work for free, but it makes the people happy." Um,
No, you can't work for free. And they say a good laborer, it's a Bible thing, I think, is worth his salt.
oh my goodness! If it's
So
not, I'm gonna take it because
yes,
that's
so
what
if you undersell yourself, people will take advantage of you. And secondly, they think, oh, you're not going to be any good. So you charge a fair price, people are usually happy. And if they're not, they can go forth and multiply. You can't, you just can't. Everybody has their worth. Mm. Some are worth less, of course, and
yeah,
some
yeah,
are
yeah.
worth.
That's what my mom. That was her thing. You worthless, good for nothing kids.
Mm.
That's what we always get.
With
Adderall. What's
Adderall,
Adderall?
I don't know what Adderall is. Is it like a aspirin or something?
I don't know. Sounds familiar. Robin, if I get to Kentucky, I was hoping I hear, and I actually would be to go meet you guys because Robin and I finally listened to the Kentucky Atheist, and then he did a debate, and just real polite guy. Have you heard of him, Claude?
Yes, yes. But I don't know why if being polite is important or not. I mean, it would be a bit boring if he's too polite. But yes, he's having a meeting at the Ark. Ark
Yes.
is, and Kent is trying to raise money. He's going on faith, which he means he wants people to send in money for him to get there. You know,
Send him money because that'd be fun to watch
well,
him. And
he's already raising money for someone's teeth, and then he's getting money for his own mini Ark. Um, So he's going to go there. I suspect he'll be sort of harumphing and garumphing around, slightly sort of pissed off because of the size of Ken Ham's ark. I
um,
think he's nice about it, but you can tell underneath he's going, oh yeah, Ken Ham has a wonderful ark. Why did you have to do it bigger than me? You can tell. But he's going to be met by these horrible atheists are going there as well. So
well,
it'll be
that's why
interesting to
I
see.
want to go. If I can make it, hopefully it's 1st of July. I would love because I'd actually just love to meet Robin and I think Big Bad Mama's going to be there. Um, yeah, a good bunch of the community, and that'd be fun just to go and hang out, um, have some fun. But yeah, I guess there's going to be some debates going on. Hopefully, that'd be fun, and just
Well,
see.
I think probably what you should do is try and go out for dinner with Ken Ham and Kent Hovind. You could both go to dinner. You'd have to they could sit on the opposite side of the table so they didn't fight over the size of their ark. And you could be the peacemaker, and you'd say something like, "Well, Kent, your ark is humble, and but you've got rooms and not what is it, bars." And you could then say to Ken, when you could say, but Ken, but your ark is the bigger one and is more reflective of the biblical size. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah. So
And then you could make a sort of a few jabs. You could say, but in front of Kent, you could say, but Ken, your ark got affected by flood damage and you had to claim insurance, didn't you? And because he would sort of be squirming and Kent would be sort of going, whoa.
well, hopefully he's got it insured. I heard it's a good size arc. I have not seen any
Well, as
pictures
as
of
far
it
as arcs go, I guess it's supposed to be like the original one.
yet.
X number of cubits.
Mm. Oh, that's right. I think he had it a direct. See, that's where you'd be good, and I'm not going to even go into it. The have it set to scale, but not
Yeah,
even.
well, I think Ken Ham's is full size, and I
Mm.
think Kent's is going to be a quarter. But of course, there's a big difference when you look at the volume. Something a quarter of the size. If it's the real size, it's actually many times bigger. It's just the way volume works. So But no, I think yes, it would be interesting because one or two of the more famous atheists are going to be there, I'm sure.
Yeah, and Robin said Aaron Raw, and then she said no. Does that happen to do with Aaron Raw being there?
I don't. He might not be going to be at this one.
Yeah,
But there's one or two of the ones that Kent puts on. What is it? Whack off a atheist. He has them on his show. I think some of those guys are going to be there. So he'll get a chance to meet them, and vice versa. Yeah.
no, that'd be fun. Now, Aaron Raw, I have no want to meet him. He just seems like he's more arrogant. But somebody like you or Robin, I mean, it'd be fun to Big Bad Mama.
Oh, wait a minute. No, the no must be another thing because Robin is now. Aaron will be there, so I think she said no to something else. Yeah.
Okay.
What does Maud say? I'm so blah. I just walk right by my beautiful plants now. Kills me. What kind of plants are those? Is that the Mariana ones, or just normal garden plants? Odd.
Are you still in a funk, Maud? Come on in and talk about it.
Mandisa will be there. I'm not sure who Mandisa.
Mandisa, I think that was a singer. Mandisa, I thought that was a Christian singer. Oh,
Maybe.
Oh, Robin, who's Mandisa? Is that Christian singer? And no, they're not just garden plants. I saw some of them. Do you know what? Oh, wow. Why is she there protesting an ark, or is she going to be? Oh, because I think it's an ark thing. She debated Kent?
What I heard is that Mandisa and Kent are going to record an album together.
Please, no.
Yes, I think so. And
we can agree on that. Kent and me should not be singing. I would, and I know he loves to sing, and I believe in heaven we're all going to have good voices, but that doesn't help on earth. So whisper sing to the Lord, or in your in your shower, please, because that's one thing. I'm not a good singer, but I was had learned the trombone, and it's all a lot of it is on just tones. So I wasn't that good, but I got pretty good at knowing the actual note, because with a slide trombone, there's not just a fixed note like a trumpet or clarinet or something. So it so I can tell. I can't sing a note, but I can tell if you're off on a note.
Yes, well, Kent did write. He sang a song the other day. He arose. I think it was because it was Easter. He only just did one verse. He arose. Da, 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 da. Did you hear that one?
I've heard. I know that one. I again. We have a Tuesday morning Bible prayer breakfast at church, and they go through a song a day, and I try to keep it low, but I hear some bad singing, so it's like, I can sing bad too.
Up from his bed Kent arose to find Sandra's left with her clothes.
See, you're
the king of his cold domain. But Sandra's gone with the donations again. Kent's morose. Yes, he sang quite well.
Yes, and that's why here on Proverbs Guys, as president, I support Kent's preaching of the gospel and his defense of the scriptures.
I wasn't so good there. I started on too high a note. I couldn't get up there. I needed to tighten my trousers, and so I had to drop an octave.
Oh, AJ will be there. I can never meet AJ. Why can't you? Oh, are you and AJ fighting again, Maud? He and Chris Mullard, the godless engineer.
All right. Yes. Dr. J. Bundy will be there. Now, is that Ted's brother?
um, I mean, oh, you guys are fine. AJ, yeah, AJ's his we had a great
Creationist.
time. AJ was on the Proverbs guys one time, and I kind of moderated between him and I think can't remember, a couple guys, and so he said I was respectful and did good because I really like to hear people's opinions. That's why
Respect is overrated. I don't like being respectful too much.
well, um, missing mod will testify. I do nothing but be respectful to people, especially in chats. Right, mod? Um,
Well,
yeah, AJ, and I think AJ admits he has an I don't know if he admits he has an evil side, but yeah, he gets kind of crude, and so each his own. I just
well, everybody has their up and downs, but I mean, creationist crybaby might be there. That would be good if he can go.
I thought that was Big Bad Mama.
Yeah, same different. Yeah.
Okay,
Or
you're
cousin.
confusing me because one time I thought it was you.
No,
Because I think he lets his hair down even more, cuts his
I'm
hair.
not intelligent enough to be creationist crybaby. He's got a very good grasp of science.
Oh well, this is back when it was just chat, probably like even during COVID, when I first chatted with you and Big Bad Mama, usually on Kent's site.
Oh, have you frozen?
Uh-oh, am I frozen or you?
Oh, you're okay now. It just briefly went a bit funny. Must have
Oh,
been God telling you time is up and you have to go and go out to play with your son. Yeah.
yeah. Well, he's over at my daughter's still, so my second daughter will bring him home. He likes to stay and socialize more with sisters, and then his nephew is like 4 years older, and they play video games and stuff, and then he has a couple other kids in the house that at party days that he can hang with. So it's like, yeah, you stay there. So Joseph may be there. Stephen, she doubts. He is 7 feet tall and pretty short fused. That is why. And so mod, since we all know that is the part of being president and why I'm president, is all I took over is like trying to just cool down the things, and then I went I went on the deep end pretty much a few months after I became president. And then I had to like, oh wait a minute, no, I came here to be the spiritual leader, to like try to be nice to people and show God's love. And then but it's too much fun arguing with you, Claude, and Aiden used to be a lot of fun, but then he I don't know, he just I think he didn't think we were playing, because it seems like he's like you, Claude, you and I, we can like go at it, we can spar or like do the little fencing thing and then shake hands and have a good time just chatting, where I think I went too far with Aiden.
I know, I've been modeling a doll, a Dan doll, all the time we've been talking. Did you feel a little prick somewhere? Did you feel that?
I thought that was
Yeah.
that was just my sore back.
Yeah. Well, it's think of it as acupuncture.
Good idea.
It doesn't work. Like, who's 7 foot tall and pretty short fused? Who's
I think Steven's pretty tall.
Oh, about 6'3", isn't he? I think who's that Big Will at Dinosaur Adventureland? Big Will, he's 7 foot apparently, which is big. Yeah.
Didn't he pass away?
No, that was Laszlo.
I don't know. So you know more about like I said with
he was sick. He was a bit sick for a while, Big Will, but I think he might have gone back. No, he was in hospital, but I think he.
Oh, okay, yeah, because like I said, I'll deal with and like the gospel preached, and the defense of the scripture. But I don't even like a lot of stuff I do outside of those two things. So that's where I'll let Kent do what he wants to do. So Aiden is hateful. It's not fun because it hurts. That always triggers me to be hateful and try to hurt him back. Yeah, and so and that's the thing. Aiden always seemed to think I was, and a lot of people like, "You're mad, Dan." It's like, no, I'm just processing thing, and then I just tell what I think. And ultimately, Aiden cares about everyone, as we all know. Okay.
He's very funny. Aiden has got such a quick wit. It's so good.
That's why
And he's funny.
I like talking with him, because it's like anything else. If you're talking with somebody like me all the time, it's going to take you down. If I try to talk to somebody smarter or witty, then it helps me go. I just think, kind of the first time Aiden actually contacted me was like squealing on Lupin. This was like January. I didn't even know you guys yet. I was just coming into the community, and I got an instant message. "Oh, well, I just wanted to tell you about Lupin and Stump," I think it was. And I was like, "What? Who are you?" It's like, and it turned out, yeah, he was a piece of work. But and that's was I would.
Yeah, Lupin is a bit of a dumbass. Yeah. Oh, but not
Well,
allowed to say.
I think if what it seems to be, and the amount of alcohol, alcohol doesn't make you smarter.
That kills your brain cells. Yeah.
And
How much have you had to drink?
luckily I no see, and that's what I tell people. I was blessed because I didn't like alcohol,
No,
and so but just figure what I'd be like if I did drink.
no.
Oh my God, I mean, I'd have zero
Oh dear.
brain cells left. I had a brother was 3 year older, so he probably pound enough. I'm probably closer to Muhammad Ali. Not that I punched, but that I got punched a little bit. Of that. Well, yes, we'd all cry. Even Claude would cry if Lupin died. I mean, that's one thing I think in the community is like, okay, we have that thought of, death is not a good thing, whether you're a Christian or not a Christian. And
Well, I know. I mean, even the old Kent, he doesn't want to die soon because he's really secretly worried that it's all BS and there isn't an afterlife. Otherwise, he'd want to be there because he wants to get in first so he can tell God how bad everyone else has been. He can spill the beans. Oh, God, it'll be like tapping God on the shoulder all the time. It drive you crazy. God, come here. God,
Claude, I
come
thought,
here, attention, please.
Maud, you thought Claude was like a secret agent or something. I think he's a fantasy writer. He comes up with the best things. He's worried about. Are you talking about Kent there, Missing Maud? You should just. Oh, you're editing. You can't be. He's worried about DL, and that's not how Christians think. Are you talking about? Oh, you okay? So Maud's saying that you're worried about DAL, and that's not how Christians think. Is that what you're talking about? And well, she is saying you're a burn spy. So did she the one that burnt you?
I don't know what a burn spy is, but look,
That's a spy that has been outed,
oh,
I think.
I'm straight. I haven't been outed yet. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and I think, in the scripture, and I hope, and that's what I tell you guys, Claude, where a lot of you guys, and not you maybe, but like you kind of dislike Kent, and it's like think that he's a fraud. But if Christianity's true and he's a fraud, you guys are going to be in eternity together. So
Oh my God, I think I'd commit suicide, but you can't
you
because
can. So
you're already dead.
you better roll the dice if you think he's a fraud, you better try your hardest to have God come into your heart and be his child, because then you'll be separated from him. But yeah, that's a good response. Maud said that, as a Christian, and it is biblical, that Christians don't want to die in a sense that it's more needful. Apostle Paul said, I'd love to go and be with Christ, which is better, but to stay and help people is more profitable. And so,
You make more money.
Apostle Paul didn't, but yeah, a lot of these probably, and that's actually evidence for the for Christianity being relevant, because none of those guys got any worldly benefit. Now then you go on to like the popes or something, it's like, whoa, they're living on a mountain of treasure there. Or other religious leaders, there's the the faith preacher ones that are, they have millions, multi-millions of dollars. Those guys, it's like, ooh, you know and even your knowledge of the Bible, and you're good, and that's why I like this community, because you guys know your Bible. And with the ones that say that, oh well, Jesus, he had a treasure, he had so much money, he had to have a treasure, and when I was missing, he didn't even notice because he had so much money. So that I think that was Kenneth Copeland or Kenneth Hagin, one of the faith guys that just crazy,
All
there.
those, yeah, they're a bunch of crooks. Jim Backer, all those people.
Yeah, and
Tammy, I know
that
she's dead now. She's rejoicing with the angels somewhere.
well, some kind of angels, because you look at that, and and that's an argument a lot of times. How did God allow suffering? The starving kids, like where I've been in the Philippines or in anywhere in the world, and it's like, dudes, just the money that one of those preachers has collected in the name of God, he could have fed. Just one of them could have fed and feed a whole nation of kids. It's not that the stuff is not, and the material wealth and food and everything is not here. It's just that man has even in those, has stole it, even in those countries. Philippines. Marcos. They had what, multi-millions dollars worth of jewelry, and they were just the president. They weren't like, it was stolen money, and it's just horrible. And it showed a documentary of the wife, and she's like handing out pesos. Oh, the people love her because she gives them pesos. These kids coming up to her window, and she's giving out pesos, which is like nothing. And she's got $1 million necklace or earrings, and that was back in the 70s or whatnot. Just just as we'd say, and I think we can agree, just an immoral behavior. But anyway. Now, are you getting midday over there? Wait a minute. Let me see. I can guess. No, I can guess. It is about 8, 9, 10, 11. So you're 11 or 12 Monday?
Yeah, it's nearly 12. So
Yes.
I'm just about to go and get something for eating. So it is time for me to go. Have a good rest of your show.
Well, it's an hour and a half, and I'm so glad you came on. We can spar. Hopefully, nobody's going to see this anyway. So,
Oh, that's right. There's about
we,
2 people watching, including me. No, Missing Martyrs and Robin is watching.
yeah. So I came on late anyway, just like
Maybe Bruce.
I wanted to do the videos of the dragonfly and that little caterpillar, which to
Okay.
me seems kind of hard to imagine that was chance mutations worked on by natural selection, but
No, it wasn't. It was the predecessor to that caterpillar got run over, squashed. And then when it came back, it was a bit stronger. Yeah, so there's going to be an armor-plated one day. And then they'll call that a tractor, caterpillar.
yeah, my little bobcat.
Yeah.
That would,
Okay.
all right, sir. What are you going to have for lunch?
I just be like a stir fry, Asian type rice and maybe a bit of beef. Yeah, I like the beef rendang with the noodles. Actually, makes me think. Yeah, that might be nice. That beef rendang. It's really a Malaysian dish.
Oh. Now,
Very nice.
do you take the spices, or are you a baby
No,
mom?
I'm not. Just a little bit. Not
Yeah.
enough to blow my backside off. No, just a little.
Well, it's supposed to help the worms, though, and the parasites. All right, sir. Thanks for
All right, what is this missing one? Let give them Wales citizenship. No statute of limitations on kidnapping. Jonah Part 2. Oh, I don't know what that is. Yeah, well, I think Missing Mod is just interested in a particular part of a whale that Kent is always talking about, but we won't go there. Okay, goodbye, everybody.
Yes. Maud and Robin, you still around? The whale is going to sea jail. Okay, I think I missed something. Now, Steph, are you in a low mood? A low mood? Yeah, actually, that's not a good definition. Aren't you feeling good today? World. SeaWorld. Oh, are you close to SeaWorld? Isn't there SeaWorld in Florida? I don't know, because all I went to was Disney whatever when we went and visited Gemma's aunts and cousins in Florida, and I think South Carolina came. Anyway, she's got more relatives over there than I do. And actually, although some of my relatives are moving to Georgia. You're rambling. Well, of course, you fit right in on my show with rambling. So what's wrong with your garden, though? I thought you had cleaned it up. Oh, so are you tired of fireworks, or it's like people near Disneyland down in Southern California every night, fireworks. Kind of would be boring. All right, I'm gonna get out of here. Big week ahead. God bless you guys. Thank you for listening. But the weeds grow fast here. The weeds grow fast everywhere. So that is to me the video game. That's my video game. No weed left behind, because they'll take points away from you. And it's it gets overwhelming. If you have black plastic on areas, put that down. It might look ugly, but it's not as ugly as weeds and getting huge, and just deal with little spots at a time. Alrighty, Steph, good night. Thanks, everybody. Is a gateway plant. Oh, all right. You can tell I need to go. A little slow on the weed comment. I do want to get myself some. That was testimonial. I wrecked these knuckles. They said there's no cartilage or anymore on this one, and so it was hurt and it was swollen, and they wouldn't do a good old California medicine. They wouldn't do an MRI on me. They would just sent me to a whatever those therapists are, physical therapist, and she's like going and she's like twisting my finger, and she was like, "You sure they didn't say it?" And it turned out that I didn't have any cartilage, and she was just like tweaking it. But I got some CBD. It's the medical cream made out of marijuana, and or made whatever, you guys know. And I went to the therapist. She was always, because it was still swollen after close to a month, and she's like trying to be careful, but she's doing what she was taught to do and told to do. And I started putting on the cream. The next week I went, and Is it 420? No, I don't do that. And swelling was down. It was good, but I've been working so much. It starting to hurt again. Alrighty. Is it 420 today? It is. April is 420. The resurrection. That's going to put people back to sleep. I will tell you testimony too. I did the educational garden at a marijuana show, and separate from all the, it was separate. People could get away from the marijuana and part of it and just hang out. But those people were the most useless. I mean, all these ideas. Yeah, Dan, do this, do that. And then it's like, all right, sure, we can do that. Because that's how I like to design. I like to have people's input, and then we do it and make it. And like one guy would just be gone. Like, where'd you go? Oh, I had to get, and it's just like useless people. Snoop said, smoke weed every day. Maybe that's why it hurts again tomorrow. Yeah. So, and that's why, and I think, Steph, you getting away from, shows once in a while for that while, I hope that helped, that you could, just get in touch with the Holy Spirit that will give you that love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And which is found in Galatians chapter 5, verse 21-ish. Wow, that impresses me. Hopefully it impresses you. Because otherwise we will be in the muck, those bad moods. We'll want to argue with everybody. But I've been praying again today for you. And again, I sent you stuff on instant message. He is there just waiting for me. He's always there. And he's with you. He loves you, cares for you. And he understands. And probably a good story to end. I have a good friend, and, he's an abused child. He almost died of asthma when he was little. And back then in the 60s, I think it would have been 60s, maybe in the 50s, because he's about 10 years older than I am. And they'd have to wait till they got blue before they brought him in to give him the treatments, because it could actually hurt their lungs, that it hadn't gotten refined yet. So here's this little kid almost suffocating, tortured that way. Then he got abused. So he didn't really like God. It was in a house that had a oh yeah. And anyway, he went and he did not believe in Jesus. God would talk to him, but when he was being abused, he was in a house that had the cross with Jesus dying on it. And so he just associated, Jesus with abuse and being abused. And so God allowed that. He said, it was just longer. Once he walked with God for a while, he said, okay, it's time. I'm Jesus. And so he said he stopped. He said, no, I can't. No, I'll talk to you, but I'm that Jesus guy. And God stopped talking to him. And then he was like, okay. So he started reading the Bible, because he didn't have a good education. Started reading the Bible, and then, turned out, but that was years, he said, that he was allowed to reject, the thought of Jesus, because God knew that God knew that crucifix was hanging there on the wall by people who said they believed in God. And so, with you, Steph, I know, I think, your comment of being, you're feeling narcissistic, I think that's the flesh. And I think the best thing, and I totally agree, that time when they were saying that Kent was, or somebody was, and it's like, we all have those tendencies. You look at that, we want to be, you go down that list, and we're humans. We have those evil needs, wants, and desires. And so, and I know God, And I believe God is living inside of you from an early age, but he knows what you went through. He knows and still loves you. A lot of times you'll come on and it's like, yeah, I do this. It's like, no, Stephanie, no. That is not the daughter of God. We all mess up. God is only looking. So, and I don't have the verse offhand, but he covers you. So when he looks at you, he's got the robe of Christ. Everything Stephanie has done, everything Stephanie's going to do, that's on the cross. You're nailed. Your sins were nailed to the cross. And you, when God looks at you, and when I look at you, I'm looking at the confession that you are God's child. All right, I apologize. I'm not always perfect at it. We're human. But no, then that's when I'm sinning, though. I'm doing what God doesn't want. If I look upon you as a sister and make you feel like what Satan wants you to feel with. And yes, get behind me, Satan. Apostle Peter, Jesus said, get behind me, Satan. And forgive me those times that I have, used my brain, which is not very good, instead of the Holy Spirit talking. But he knows, he's there, and you need just to remember that you are God's perfect child. Yeah, but the main ingredient in a narcissist is no empathy. They destroy others' feelings and have no concern because they are trying to avoid dealing with something that happened to them. Okay, so, and that's why I try not to judge, because, I had a best friend, and, he did some real bad stuff, and, he confided in me that he was abused by both of his parents. But in high school and school, he was like a protector. He'd protect me a few times, and like there was some people with disabilities, and people would tease him, and he would punch them out. He wouldn't care if they were bigger. He would protect people that were getting bullied. And yes, so your feelings, and that's why God is against those things that would hurt other people. So yes, we are like snails. We're like, people that have to hide our feelings. And but would you spell out LIAMEO? So I'll have to look that up. I can never remember that one. It's too many. But that, we're like that. When we're in pain, we protect our pain. If you've got a cut on your arm, somebody starts poking that, you're going to stop them from giving you pain. Well, yeah, that's, that's the way we're at. It's you're going, and okay, so back up. We're all sinful. We can all hurt people, coming out as a babies. You look at 2-year-olds in a daycare, they're going to, they're going to kill each other. 3-year-old, 4-year-old, they were innocent. Okay, let's 6, 7-year-olds. Whatever it is, humans are sinful. So you got to separate that, though, from the times that then, like Jesus said, those who hurt the little children, better for you to be thrown off with a mill strapped around your neck into the sea. Because, once you're hurt, you hurt something, whether it's an animal. This is, I think, basic in all life. If you hurt something, then, think of the little puppies you've seen that have been abused. They're going to lash out. They're not going to trust. It's about trust. That's why, I know you trust in God. You express it all the time, even at times where it would be a lot easier for you just to be quiet. You will defend your faith. And so, yeah, you got to separate. The dynamics are so huge. And so, yeah, you were bullied, you bully. That's a way of human nature. Not that it's good. And then, but I've seen you be very nice. Sometimes it's like, you wouldn't have to be. So that's where, the Holy Spirit in you, you're letting him lead you. And so, just, man, just, whew, we all are there. We've all gone through that. And it took me until, and it doesn't happen right off. Sure, you were, I think, 13, you said, when you gave your heart to the Lord. But it does take time, and he's patient with you. He loves you. He's not going to cast you out. If we do something stupid, he'll say, okay, Steph, Dan, come on home. You're being an idiot. Too much of an idiot, because we're always being idiots. But no, he's got something for you to do. And it has nothing to do with anything except for trusting in him. And it's hard, because just like my friend, he knew God was there and allowed these things. Now that he's 75, he's like, oh my gosh, it gave him a perspective. It made him stronger. It made him so more, and it took a while, even after he gave his life to God. He was still on marijuana. He, he had a list of things, and it took him still years. Sin, sometimes God will take away a sin right now, but sometimes we say, well, not yet, God. It's like, okay, God, yes, I gotta stop, whatever. You add in the little sin or the big sin. And then it's like, oh, Lord, take that away from me. Oh, maybe not right now, maybe tomorrow. So, and a lot of that, just know that he's there for you. And I know you do. But yeah, then it's the hurt part. I would hope that you could find somebody you could talk to about, say, like the pain with your father, the pain with the bullying. You bullying, to me, when I bullied people, I look back, and that was worse on me than people bullying me, because that was them. I'm the one responsible for bullying my friends or other people. Yes, and that's a worldly saying, and it's like, that ain't gonna happen. The only way we don't, we live in the Spirit is to be led by the Spirit. And that is, but it's a process. So, don't listen to satanic temple advertisements or Christians who try to tell you, God, if you're a good Christian, you'll do this, or if you're a good Christian, you'll do that. No, if you're a good Christian, you will listen to the Holy Spirit. And that's the thing, Steph, and that's why I try to, again, we always want to poke fingers at other people and point at other people, and and that's something in my life. Like, no, I've got to let the Holy Spirit do and lead you like I expect. Ooh. Philip just brought me sushi.
One.
Just one. How'd you get this?
Carrier.
Your sister? I gotta tell her, she's way too good to you. Some Safeway. Yeah, thanks, Robin. There's a lot of new, the newer satanic trend. I think that's trend, right? Trend. Yeah, because it's like the whole Aaron Roth thing. I never fell for it because I thought it was kind of funny. Right. Thank you, Aaron. Robin. Because I think we had that one guy on some show. I think it was on the guy that something radio that you guys used to be on. Is that, yeah, and then though again, from a believer in good and bad, evil, good, the spiritual beings that are good and evil. I would say that, like those in Hollywood, or say like the Epstein guy, or the other guy, that the producer that had his couch that he would get a little something to get what was his name? Anyway, he got put in prison because he had one too many girls on the couch. But then even that they made jokes about him in the award ceremonies. They knew it the whole time, but just allowed it. Some of the biggest stars. So the Satanic Temple is a humanist group, and I think there is that aspect. But to me, like with the others, it is being led by negative spirits, negative influences. Because again, if I thought there was no God, I'd just find a beach somewhere and hang out, because it's kind of to me, and I expressed that before, is that that if there's no God, there is no morality, true morality, absolute morality. Your morality, my morality, your truth, my truth, is no truth, no morality, really. Is that I would just live out my life, do what I want, eat, drink, be merry, because tomorrow I die. Or the saying in the 60s and 70s was, feels good, do it. And so with that, I'd say anybody that, but again, the whole big picture. So right now, if you take all the religion out of the government, out of the state, then, as we know, the United States Supreme Court has rendered, not the big one, but that, the Humanist Manifesto has everything in a religious-like manner. So if you take out "In God We Trust," then it is a naturalistic, materialistic, humanistic belief system running the government. So then you have a belief system that is just a minority of the people believe in. They don't fight Christians. They fight for equal rights for everybody. And so I would say on that as a Christian, I shouldn't say this, Missing Mod, we just had a good talk, but I see that, the Bible says that the God of this world is the one who leads governments, but with God controlling how far they go, how evil they can go, what their borders are, and I would say you look at in that, Robin, it's again in a debate, and this will be a light debate at the end, is that the founding fathers, George Washington, they prayed. There's a religious person in the Congress, in that the Constitution. They got a lot of people around, but they had to get 13 colonies together. So they did compromise on a lot of things, but Supreme Court has the 10 Commandments on it. The President Washington, prayer, and all in his speeches. There was prayer before Congress, closing of Congress. There still is to this day. There's the Bible. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. So these things, and but I don't want, and so again, separation of church and state. Nowhere in the documents. You guys like to say, oh well, the Bill of Rights, the we had the God in, we were created equally, but that wasn't the Constitution. But then you guys want to throw in the thing that separation of church and state, which was just a letter to a church. That's nowhere in any document. So, I think, okay. But in Congress, you'd have to say there is the 10 Commandments in the Supreme Court. So, and then you look at, even today, we have presidents that say prayers. And so to separate, and again, where did they come from? But where they came from, England mainly, English colony, where you had a state church. The Anglican Church was the state church. And so that'd be the other side of it. Thomas Jefferson, we don't want a church. We don't want a church. So that's not a religion. It's not separation of church and state. Is, even if you went with that, that is a church. Catholic Church, Anglican Church, Baptist Church. No, I don't want any church to run the government, but to have biblical principles. You look at the Constitution, you look at that, and a lot of that comes out of, Christian, what do they call it? Christian Judeo principles. Because, and that's where, though, as a republic, we can still have debates. I would say that, and I just the kind of, I would say, as a religious person, that God's letting the Democrat Party show themselves, because, they're, and Trump's telling them, whether you like Trump or not, he's going, I'm sticking for the things that 90% of the people want. And so going down for a guy that turned out, he was caught and released with 6 people in his car without luggage, going 3 days, 6 days, whatever it was, the human smuggling or worker smuggling. I'll put that up there because I'm finished my thought here. And then, his wife came out in 19 and 20 or 18 and 20 with restraining orders, because she even testified she had stuff of her beating. Now, if you see the clips, which you probably don't because you don't watch probably the alternative news sources, is that this guy asked her, hey, did your husband, something about the husband and the abuse? And she goes, my husband's alive. It's like, yeah, you don't get, so, and he's illegal. And the reason on the court case why they didn't want to send him to El Salvador, because his lawyer argued that if he was sent to El Salvador, his life was at risk from being killed by other gangs. Well, that's admitting he was in a gang. Sorry, let me get rid of that. Thank you, Philip, for messing me up. But good sushi. Slow down. Let me get the... Again, I don't like this thing. I usually put open my YouTube to get these questions. They go so quick. The purpose of separation of church and state is to keep forever from these shores the creation of the ceaseless strife that has soaked the soil of Europe with blood for centuries. Very good, yes, but what it was churches. It wasn't the religion of Christianity. It was churches, Church of England, fighting the people and being led against the Catholics of France, the Roman Catholics, then the Lutherans. So it was churches. They didn't want anything to do with a church. Now, individual fathers, some of them were more theists, or didn't have a belief in Jesus Christ. We do know that's true. Let me get down here farther, because I love this debate as just to me it's lighthearted, because I'm not for a church. I don't want a church doing it. Trump's deporting human beings is a concentration camp. I don't care what they do to MS-13, the other gangs that have been allowed to come into our country. And, then that's been my biggest argument, Robin, seriously, is with Clinton. I mean, I even had some stuff on Obama saying that the gang activity on the border, the human trafficking on the border, this was 2008. So we've known it. They do nothing. Oh, let's put more border guards. That does nothing. Let's catch them and release them into the country. So to have an open border is pro-human trafficking, pro-fentanyl. Sorry. To me, and so I'm in landscape. I talk to these people. They don't like it. They're one guy paid $20,000 to get from, I think it was Guatemala. They put his family farm up to the cartel's a bank. He had to come, in years he was in slave labor to the cartels to pay off that $20,000, or they were going to take away his family. Not even his, it was his parents' family's farm. That is evil. That is all on the Democrats. Easy solution. Well, Dan, what are you going to do? Shut down the border and let them in the doors. To have an open border run by the cartels is no different than letting somebody not come in your front door. You're going to have them come clean your toilet, but they got to climb a fence and climb through your back porch because you're not going to invite them in your front door. That's the way it is. I was asked a friend's wife was visiting her family because, again, our policy, if you are caught up in the United States before, not now, if you're pulled over in California, you're fine. If you're down in Mexico, you're fine. But if you get caught on the border, you get off the list. It takes about 14 years for legally getting into the country. His wife was caught on the border, and he was going to pay me $3,000 to go down and fetch her. And it's like, what? So I was kind of rude with him because I know, and he said he had relatives in the cartel, so they wouldn't hurt her, because I told him, what about, what goes on to women on the border? He goes, oh, no, I got my cousin. He'll protect her. So it's like, and I was kind of offended because it's like, you're offering me money to go get your wife, because they had it set up $3,000. There was a border agent that, and the border guards in the crossings, they have them switch. And this is just him. I don't know. This is his testimony. I don't disbelieve it. That because she got caught one time coming through. So then he got a thing. It was more money, but they would take a van load of illegals and they'd figure out where this border guard would be. So they'd have to hang out in a certain area and just hope she'd get back to that spot. He said it was a she. And then 15 people, because it was the big van, at least 15, that would pay $3,000 each to drive through her section. And so, that's more gang related because, that's more organization than just one border guard. And, but I could have gone to prison to that. It's like, don't even talk to me about that. Don't even ask. How dare you? But again, his wife was there. He was here. And our stupid government does not let them through the door. If you have, and like back in the day, we're here also from an apple, was a huge apple producing area in Northern California. And so a lot of labor needed. Well, those guys went through tons of vetting, and the workers then, they would leave the doors open. They would allow them to, and, back then they didn't hide their money. It'd be sitting there. Yeah, going in, they'd, have food together, and all that. And then so with that, yeah. Oh, good. I got some other questions. But yeah, so that's my short term on that, is that we got to do something. So, the El Salvador is prisons. And again, they were the murder capital of the world, and now they're not. That's statistics. So, yeah, 75% of those in El Salvador have no criminal record. They don't have to. Now, the tattoos, and maybe you don't know there. I know some guys from workers, and if they have a tattoo, now there's another one. There's just a Mexican national, it was people born in Mexico. Then you had the Crips up here and the Bloods that were American born people. And then, but they were really getting the Mexican. It was the Familia. I can't remember the name of it, but they don't have any tattoos. They'll just come up and shoot you. They are meant for doing bad stuff. But you got the MS-13 and those guys that'll actually put the tats on. You don't wear those tats and live unless you're really one of those members. If I put a gang tattoo on myself, I'm dead, because there's things I have to do to get into that gang. One of them is doing something very bad, either a murder, beating somebody else, some kind of gang-related warfare, stealing, theft, murder. So yeah, if they have a gang tattoo, they're admitting they have done a crime. Just the way those guys are. Now, where am I wrong? They weren't the murder capital. Is that where we are? Again, I love this debate because it's, has nothing to do with any of us. Trump is Antichrist. I hope that's a little hyperbole. What Trump is doing is evil. Now, this is, let me go back. Sorry, there's been so much and I'm babbling. Sorry, Robin. It is not true. He is not illegal. He had been legal immigrant for years. Now, are we talking about the same guy that, what do they call him? The Maryland guy? And maybe I have, because I listened to both, and I've seen no, the senator that went down, he's not saying that he wasn't illegal. He didn't say that there wasn't, because they're claiming that there was 2 judges back, what's that, before 2020, that actually sent him out. Now, the one claim is that his lawyer argued that he could, if he went to El Salvador, his home country, he would be killed by rival gangs. Well, you can only be killed by a rival gang if you're in a gang. So that's kind of an admission. So the whole thing the senator is saying is, oh, he's a nice guy and he was taken out illegally. The only illegal thing they're saying is that he shouldn't have been sent. A judge back 4 or 5 years ago said he shouldn't have been taken to El Salvador. And then, so now that's in the courts, whether it's illegal or not, because that's been up to even the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said last ruling said that Trump wasn't wrong. There's so many. I mean, I really don't pay attention as much, but when I think, didn't they say they can't judge shop? And you might not have heard this one on the media you listen to, but Chuck Schumer said they've got judges in place and these judges that are stopping Trump's legal stuff are newly appointed back in the day that Chuck Schumer was talking about. So, it goes to court and then we see, but, I is that, let's take Mexico. Let's just copy Mexico's immigration policy. Do you know what happens to Mexico if somebody from Guatemala is caught there? They want to start working in Mexico. Now you say that, and people argue, and I don't know about your argument, that, we need illegal workers. We need illegal aliens to do our jobs that we won't do. And so, because that'll make the United States stronger. Well, it's not happening in Mexico. Mexico will ship you right out. Robin, you go start driving truck down there, they're going to boot you. And so, I don't think, if we just go with Mexico, what country lets people in? Now, my thing is we need jobs, we need workers. We know what those workers are, but who have they been bringing in? Engineers, computer people, by the droves. They bring in those people in on the visas. And I was like, let's bring in the farm workers. But here's the dirty secret, Robin, is that if you bring them in legally, they can demand legal employment. One example, and there's a lot because I'm in the industry, you go to those, and you might have even done too, there's a bunch of guys there, I'll go hire somebody. There's a jefe there. So if you pay somebody $20, $25 an hour, jefe's getting a percentage of that, and he just stays out on the corner with the guys. So the guy you pay $20, $30 an hour, he's not getting that. He has to pay that to the person. So that's an illegal practice. But nobody cares because you need your weeds pulled. Somebody needs their toilet cleaned. You need to move stuff when you're moving. And what does that do? That takes away from people, whether they're illegal or not illegal, that have a company that actually have to pay people, moving people, like they get paid good money. But if you get the guy off the street, do it, hey, $20, $25 an hour, you are robbing a person to give them a good wage. My industry, as a landscaper, liability insurance, and now I just smile. Some, like, Dan, can you come help me out? I come look, and it's like, okay, you need this work redone because who did you have do it? Some guy, never was a contractor because as a contractor, customer can just talk, you can report them. I will get in trouble if I do crappy work. But these people, they will hire somebody for $20 an hour. One guy, I got a good job out of him, and it's because come prune my apple tree. Oh yeah, the guy's, and this is the prejudice. Oh, well, he was Mexican. I thought he knew how to prune apple trees. Come on, people. And that was a good Democrat guy. How dare you? Just because somebody comes from Mexico, you think they know everything about pruning. The guy probably lived in a city and raised chickens or worked in a factory. It's just, craziness. But, the guy lost health of a good fruit trees. No, the gang was after him because his family would not pay the gang. Then that's funny because, he was reported to have been gathered, arrested, and he was in a gang sweep, and he was part of one of the guys that was with him. How about just the wife beater thing? He's gotten 2 court cases, but Robin, the guy, the Maryland guy, has 2 deportation orders from judges back in early 2018, something like that. You're saying you can't deport somebody that a court already said he should be deported? That's where I'm, again, unless that senator and the Democrats are holding back on truth for some reason. SCOTUS told Trump to bring him back. That's kind of out of Trump's hands right now. How can you, supposedly he's an El Salvadorian citizen, and then okay, how do you go and take it? So my information, and I'm waiting for some Democrats to say different, is that it was an illegal, not, if we're talking about the same guy, maybe not. He was the Maryland guy, they said, the father, the perfect father, dad, just had 2 wife-beating charges against him. But anyway, he reportedly is not a citizen, reportedly beat his wife, reportedly had 2 separate judges give him the kick-out order. Now, the kick-out order might have said not El Salvador because there was a threat of him being killed by opposing gangs. But anyway, he's in a prison down there. Trump would have to go back and kidnap him. Go with force? Let's go with the SEAL Team 6 and go steal the guy out of a prison. But on these, you're told to do something, but there's that has to go to court. So then we'll see what the court says. So doing something illegal, and I'll grant you, I'm the one that always said Hillary Clinton did something illegal. She's a criminal. And you'll have to tell me, no, she was never tried for it. Just because Comey said nobody would ever try somebody for doing what she did. All she did was keep top secret documents. And then Trump gets he gets tried for that. So that's goes then into a court thing. And so it's only illegal once the court actually has an investigation, Trump administration against whatever state or people. Everybody entitled process. And the guy from Maryland, I guess, had 2 orders to get out of the country. So that seems to like due process. And again, due process, when it is used to stop the will of the people, and then that's where we get into more gray area, because MS-13 has been named a terrorist organization. That puts them under a different process. And so then they're even worried about that. You're talking about, and you might be in a nicer place. I can go here, Northern California, great place. I know 2 places that I could take you. I wouldn't take you. I'd send you there, and you probably wouldn't live the night. Heavy gang activity. And I'll tell you which one you should wear a 49ers uniform to, because they'll slice you up. Which neighborhood to do was the Oakland Raiders. Now, whoever Raiders uniform to, they will slice you up because of the gang activity. So, process is process for us, because I'm in a nice area. Who cares? Who cares what they're doing down on 9th Street? Who cares what over on the avenue they're doing? No, I care. I really care. And I don't care the process. If you're a gangbanger, you're not a nice person. And society and your due process, sorry. They got paid $15 an hour in Kentucky. Oh, see, California's overexpensive on everything. Not when America wants to milk cows, we can't hire anybody. Yeah, so just like back in the days in the 60s and 70s, when, even the black families had more fathers in the household than they do now. Back in the day, where they would bring up workers from Mexico and they'd leave their houses open. I knew some of them, and at my age, and probably even 40s and 50s and 60s, because when they were really older guys, it was like, oh yeah, there's Leonardo, and they were part of the family. They'd eat with them. They'd have the door open. They could go in anytime they wanted. They were part of the family. Now, no, don't do that, because the ones that come over illegally owe something to the cartels. If you don't obey them, and they've got your records, they know who you are. These care humans. They work hard. Some work hard. No, Robin, I'm a landscaper. Only, let me see. Now I can get guys that work harder than I do. And if you see this hand, I kind of washed dishes today, but no, those are stains. If I wash dishes for about 3 days, I can get them clean, but you can tell I haven't washed dishes 3 days in a row. There's not been one that works harder or faster than I have in my day. Even when I was in my 50s, I was outworking these guys. So, and you've never come up to a job. All I had them do, I had 5 guys. This is back when I would get laborers back in the about 90s, 80s, and it was 80s, and they'd be just leaning on their rakes. All I had to do is just rake up leaves, clean up this yard. I drive in, 5 guys, 4 of them started raking when they saw me. One guy didn't even start raking again. So they can be hard workers, but that's racist to say that every Mexican, every illegal guy is a hard worker. No, they're not. Some of them are. The one guy that didn't get back off his rake and just stood there and watched me as I came up, he went back to Mexico the next week. My friend, who was in charge of the laborers, who got the laborers for the job I was running, he called him not a nice name, kind of a name of a something, very homophobic. And he went back to mama, he said. Let's see. Bruce, where are you? But yeah, Robin, on this, like I said, I'd like to information. I'm not married to anything. I never liked Trump. I don't like his personality. I don't like New York thugs. I've known enough, not New York thugs. I mean, just that New York, hey, I'm a New, just get on. It's like, shut up. We're more, we do have the reputation in California of just do. And the Italian community is like, no, just do what you do. And don't be in people's faces. I say, Bruce, are you back? Where are you? You said you were traveling. For the Lord himself shall descend. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of God, and the dead in Christ shall rise first. Amen, Bruce. That is our hope. It is, and this is, Robin, why I actually, my love, and that's why he said the other stuff I'll argue with. I don't have the best trust of humanity. I don't know if you heard the debate where I was used to use a Roundup and I stopped it, and it's and as an example that the government, they've tested, and look up the main ingredient in Roundup, I can't remember what it's called. They have not found a place that it is not in the water. It is the cancer causer. It is the bad stuff. It stays in water. It won't go away. And the government allows that. So I'm not too trusting in men, whether they're religious, non-religious. I don't trust people. And I think it's with a good, I love people. And I think through God is the only answer. Otherwise, you got to trust men or be a recluse. And Mr. Bruce, how's everything going? Those gangbangers are souls, Dan. Yes, and maybe they, hopefully they got Gideons. They give out the Bibles. I think, I should see. They might give them out in El Salvador prisons too. But a lot of gangbangers have turned their life to Jesus Christ. Is this another one? Bruce, 1 Corinthians 15:52. Any moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, the trumpet shall sound, and the dead, didn't I read that? Shall rise incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Oh man, my body wants to be changed. Bruce, get in here. Or are you on your phone? But anyway, Robin, on that whole thing, I don't think, I don't have a trust on either. We know in history that no government is really for the people. And that's been shown again, that people have so your argument that we need laborers, I'm all with you. Why though would one party actually, stop it, Bap. It's both. The rich Republicans, they're the ones that have bought up, there's I'm not going to say names because I don't want to say it wrong. Rich Republican conservatives that have bought up old hotels, old places, refurbished them, and renting them out to the government for illegals. Getting the illegals, giving them a ticket, giving them a passage anywhere in the United States. Testimony of the border agents that have, and they have it on record, the amount of young children unaccompanied to the border. And some of them just have a wristband or something and they showed those, or just a telephone number. and they don't even prove who they're giving it to. So I go to the side of, if we due process, if you're caught on the border and you've got a gang tat on you, I want you away. I don't care if they put a bullet in their head. That's all the due process I need for them, because I've had a 9mm poked in my face. Weird, because I didn't have, that's how I believe I have the Holy Spirit, because I was just like, because I'm a flight guy. I'm not a fight guy. Fight or flight. I'm flighting. And I was just watching. I was looking at this guy, and the dude was a thug. And he had this about a 6 foot something ex-Marine next to him, and then some fat guy, nice guy, but it was like, their little trio gang. They stuck a 9mm in my face. He got caught with that, and people go, "Oh, didn't you turn him into the police?" Yeah, I'm gonna turn that guy into the police. Example: he got stopped, found this 9mm with cop killer bullets in it under his seat. The boy, you never saw a guy get dressed up in a suit. They let him off. So just think if I was the one that was testifying against him. So where's my rights? Where's my due process not to have that kind of a person around? And yes, it was the due process, a scumbag lawyer and scumbag prosecutors, the whole system, that let that boy out. And there was a number of people in fear until we heard that. I don't care, I'm trusting God, but that heard that he'd passed away just about 5 years ago. And that was like 20 years. People were like, his ex-wife and his daughter. Steph has a good comment. We are not smarter than the men who founded America. We will have the U.S. like Walmart if we take over and change anything. Amen, Steph. On that, I'm totally with you. And that's where I don't trust humans. I don't trust the movement. And on both sides, there's people who want a constitutional convention to get it. No. Sure, we have people that are twisting, saying that, I cannot get on here and offend people. Okay, I'm fine with that, but how many people have you seen thrown off because they've offended Christians? I haven't seen it. I've seen a lot of anti-Christian stuff, and not you, Robin, because you're just tell what you think. But Robin, there's people that get on here, accuse, make fun, ridicule the God in the clouds, or the God in the big man in the sky, whatever. That's not hate speech. If you said that about Islam, you said that about people's preference on who they want to be around, I'd get thrown off of here. So it isn't fair. Freedom of speech should be freedom of speech, or it should be no freedom of speech. It should be equally done, and it's not. And they would say it's like, yeah, we could get in a lot of things. Churches that stayed open during that bad cold, and they would threaten arrest, fine them. A lot of got fined, and we had one. Was a thrift store that was helping out abused women, and they shut them down. Now you could go next door to the marijuana dispensary. It was open during the big cold, but the thrift store that helped support a lot of people recovering from abused situations, they were out of luck. and they shut those people down. So no, we've seen our state is not fair. You could go you could go to the big box stores. You could go to the corporate mega stores. Well, of course, you're not going to get a cold in there, I guess. But they'd shut down the mom and pop stores. No, come on, guys. No, thank you. Anyway, and not that church of whatever. I don't want them in charge either. Trump deporting human beings is okay. I have to hop off. Love you guys. Oh, good night, Mod. I'm gonna have to get out of here pretty soon too, because Bruce won't come and play. I don't watch state TV. That's a good thing. Oh, did you hear who has the MSNBC? They just got $30 million settlement because multi-hosts were attacking some doctor, saying he was forcing medical procedures on illegals in Trump's camps. Funny, there was Obama camps before, there was Trump camps, and there was Biden camps, but they weren't evil, just the Trump camps. Well, they named him, they kept it up, and I don't know which news agency has MSNBC. Haha. NBC, I think, the one paid $30 million to keep it out of court because they don't care. It isn't true. He is not illegal. Oh, I might way back farther. I was just trying to go through these things. That I guess we'll have to see in court documents about the guy being illegal or not. But as an accused, are you saying Trump was that? Okay, it was Christianity. Those are all Christians. What Trump is doing is evil. Okay, I think I'm back farther. Yeah, this thing goes really fast. I am wrong. I could be wrong. That's why why it's like this. This is not like my belief in Jesus. Not that I'm wrong. I'm wrong something with the Bible because nobody's right with everything. Nobody has it. Yeah, it's just like, and another example, Robin, if you're still here, is Philippines. Duterte came in. They thought, he's going to be a dictator. He's going to stay forever. He clamped down on the drug cartels, and my in-laws, they said for the first time, could walk the streets at night. So yeah, due process with the common people being safe. So, it's, I'm sorry, I side with the small people, with the common people. And do you think that the people in the hoods want the gangbangers there? They would love to see them out. And I've talked to many of them. Good, hardworking Hispanic guys that know that, even they're because a lot of them work here and they buy property down there, and they have to pay the cartels. They did. Now there's a fight now with the cartels. So I guess without due process, but the common people aren't having to pay $300 a month, a year, whatever it is, from their hard work to some guy who comes by and says, hey, give me your money so your crops don't burn. Yeah. And then you look at that, and then you must think then, Robin, that going after the Italian mafia in Chicago, wherever they were, they didn't do too much process with those people. They just kind of did it. And you know what? We're better off. And that was some of my relatives. Oh, not that I knew, but They told Trump, okay, I'm sorry, I'm back behind. I'm just going real quick then, because this thing is very sensitive. Oh yeah, I'm way back. All right, Robin. Oh, Bruce. Oh, there's Bruce. Bruce, why didn't you come in? Hope I did your... Bruce, those, our souls. They are. Best way to deal with them is in prison. Give them a Gideon Bible. All right. I'll probably hear by myself. God bless everybody. Yeah, I went on for another 20 minutes. I love to babble, I just have so much to talk about in this brain, and love all you guys, and know that there is a nice, warm place in the arms of Jesus. We are out of here. Do I want this? I want this. I think this is my ending one. Here we go. Goodbye, all.